Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so let's just get the reading update out of the way first. I am still, of course, reading Murder Falcon. Now, the GKBC and Jay at Faceless Book Reviews are also reading this with me. We call it the Marvelous Team Up, and we only have one more episode left. So if you've been following along, thank you. I'm really having a blast with this Murder Falcon. Also, I started reading this one, Empire of Grass, Tad Williams. This is the second book in the Last King of Ostenard series, and I'm making some pretty good progress with this. I'm already through 260 pages, 23 chapters. It's going great. I love Tad Williams. I love Ostenard. I love this world he's created. And like I said, it's a pretty big book, so I knew it was going to take 2 weeks. That's why I planned to do this video. This is the, what should I call this? Tad Reads Books and Stuff, question and answer. Yeah, very creative, Tad. Yeah, this is my question and answer video. Now, when I put the call out for people to start asking me some questions, I figured maybe I'd get 2 questions or like 2 people responding. And I got actually 4 people. 4 people were kind enough to send me some questions, and there were multiple questions. So let's just sit back, relax, enjoy this movie, because when people ask me questions, you know, I can just start telling stories. And a lot of these questions did bring up stories for me. So let's just see where it goes. I'm just going to talk, answer some questions, and hopefully it's entertaining. I don't know. Let's see what happens. A lot of people do these question and answer videos, and this will be the first time I've ever done it. So let's see where it goes. Now, I'm just going to read them in order. I wrote them down on a handy dandy notebook, and I'm just going to do them in order that I received them. So the first person was Jay from the Faceless Book Reviews, and he was kind enough to ask me a couple questions. So, what's the first one? Number 1, what do you do for a living? Well, I've done a lot of things over the years, but currently my job title is sales inspector. So I come to your house, I inspect the house, and I sell products that our company does, or products or services, more like it. In the pest and lawn industry. So, yeah, I kill bugs, I kill termites, I kill weeds in your lawn, things like that. We don't mow lawns or anything like that, and nothing with reptiles. So unfortunately in Florida, we can't get rid of your lizards, we can't get rid of your snakes or your alligators or crocodiles if you have them. But we can kill the hell out of bugs. All kinds of bugs. If you live in Florida, you know how many bugs there are. But yeah, that's what I do for a living, currently. And I've been doing it now. I'm in my 9th year with this company. So, all right. Number 2, do you still enjoy making videos? For the most part, yeah, I do. Now, a lot of you don't know, or maybe some of you have, if you've watched, I mention it every once in a while. I actually have 2 YouTube channels. I have a channel where I do solo playthroughs of board games. So that channel is called Board Games, War Games, and Miniatures. I've been playing board games and war games since the 70s. And I love painting the miniatures. It's kind of a meditation for me. A lot of these games nowadays have actual really cool miniatures that you can play with, and it's something I do, and mostly I do solo playthrough videos. If you like hour-long playthrough videos of games, yeah, check out that channel. I do a bunch of those. And yeah, I for the most part do enjoy still doing these videos. There are some times where it does feel like it's a job, like, oh, I've got to get a book finished for this, next video, because I like to do a book, a week. And that can be hard sometimes. Sometimes I just feel run down or beat down, or I've got to plan everything I do around when I'm going to film this video, weekly. But for the most part, the reason I enjoy it is because I get to get people to ask me questions. I've become friends with several people just through this medium, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I do overall still enjoy it. Number 3, what is the biggest difference / misconception or something you have noticed in 2 years on BookTube? Oh, I don't know if they're misconceptions. I don't know. It depends on what the person that starts a YouTube channel goes into, I guess, hoping to achieve. With me, and nobody's ever asked me really, why did you start a YouTube channel, a BookTube channel, for instance, or a game channel? And I've never told that story, and I'm not going to tell it now. So, but for the most part, it's kind of, for me, a vlog, like a video log or a diary of, just so, I can go back and, oh, what did I think of that book? In a more entertaining way, I guess. I mean, I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing this for the views and, for the subscriptions. Although it would be nice if someday I could get monetized and it would maybe help supplement my income when I retire. That'd be great. But I'm not a young, beautiful woman, showing off my cleavage, and I don't hawk books. I'm not reading constantly the newest thing coming out to try to sell you books, so no one's ever going to be interested in sponsoring me or anything like that. But the main thing, again, is I've met a lot of people and actually made some friends doing this. So I hope you enjoy it. And that's it, really. Jay, though, kind of to your question, I know you just started a channel and you're curious about it. You didn't really ask the worst thing, but you kind of were nice here. Misconceptions. The worst thing are the gatekeepers. There are going to be people that are going to say mean things to you because maybe you said something wrong, or for instance, I did some videos on J.R. Tolkien, and I mispronounced some names, and I got people bashing me for saying that I never read the books. I don't know what I'm talking about because I mispronounced the names, which I do quite often. Forgive me, I'm human. But yeah, you'll get a lot of gatekeepers, a lot of pushback sometimes from people, and they can be quite rude. Other than that, though, yeah, it's fine. You're going to enjoy it, Jay. Stay with it. I enjoy your videos. Also, Jay asked me for my social security number, my credit card number, and my bank account number. I send that to him separately, so I'm not going to give that over the video, just so you know. All right, next. All right, so another one of my subscribers, this is Winston Churchill. I believe it's the Winston Churchill who is watching me, because Winston was such a very erudite, intelligent individual. He enjoys my channel, so no doubt he would watch it and have some questions for me. So these are for you, Winston. Question number 1. How do you find the time to read so much? So, good question. I don't think I read that much. I can get through a book a week. How do I do it? How do I find time to do that? Well, I'm a little OCD. I say a little, I'm not full blown. I don't need to take medication for it or anything like that, but I can be in certain instances. And one of my big things is numbers, counting. I have to count things all constantly, but time is a big thing. I have to know what time it is. I have to know how many minutes I have left to do something. I have to know how long it takes me to do something. I have to plan my day. I'm very structured in my day. That's the biggest thing that messes with me and my, I guess, OCD. But one of the things that I do is I have to compartmentalize everything, and one of them is my reading. Now, what do? Every night at 9 o'clock, I read. I usually, get ready for the night, shower, all that good stuff before eat dinner, spend time with my girlfriend watching TV. But then at 9 o'clock, I go into my bedroom and I read. I'm not a fast reader. I read on average 30 to 40 pages an hour. That's not very fast. But, so in an hour, between 9 and 10, and if I'm really into the book at the time, I can extend that. I like to read at least an hour. Sometimes it even goes to 2 hours. But usually not, usually an hour and a half. So I'm normally doing 30 to 40 pages easy a night of reading. That's during the week, right? Monday through Friday. So if I'm reading, let's say 40 or even 50, pretty much I average around 50 a night, 50 pages. So that's 250 pages Monday through Friday. Sometimes that's a whole book right there. Not nowadays. Usually books are maybe twice that, 500 pages. But another thing that I do with I guess as part of my OCD is I get up just about every day, right at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't really even have to set my alarm clock. I will wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend and I've stayed up late or done something that wore me out. I will wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So on the weekends, I get up, and of course, my girlfriend's not up. Nobody's up. It's quiet out. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I only drink coffee on the weekends. I make a pot of coffee and I sit down and I read. So I can read, for 3 or 4 hours easy before even anything starts going on during the day on a Saturday and a Sunday. So I easily get in 100 pages of reading every Saturday and every Sunday. Now, I do work every other Saturday, so sometimes I get up, I read a little, but on Saturdays I don't have to go into work as early as I do during the week, so I can still get a couple hours of reading in, and then I can come home after work and relax and do a little bit of reading too. So easily I'm reading, 500 pages a week. If I have a book that has 600 pages or just needs to get done, I can spread that out and get it done over Saturday and Sunday. So that's how I can normally read a book a week. And it's not that hard. So, I don't think I read a lot. Ask Grozz. Grozz reads a lot. I don't, but, I can get a book a week pretty much easily. Even this big one here, it's got like 700 pages in it. I'm already 250 pages through, and I didn't read it all this Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to be able to finish that easily for next week. So that's what I do. All right, long answer, sorry. Winston asks, question number 2, where do you read? Do you have a favorite spot, or do you read anywhere? No, I don't really read anywhere. My mother was like that. I talk about my mother a lot. She had a book in every room. Wherever she went, she had a book in her purse. If she was somewhere, she was constantly reading. I don't. Like I said, I read in my bed at night before I go to sleep. And I have a nice, comfy, reclining leather chair that I read in. Sometimes I read out on my porch, on my back porch, if the weather is decent out. Sometimes I even read right here, right in this old, uncomfortable chair. But yeah, pretty much in my house. Yeah, I'm not one of those that goes to the library and reads, or goes outside and sits under a tree and reads. I just don't. Too much would probably distract me and My OCD would drive me crazy. It has to be quiet. I do like a quiet area. All right. Number 3. What kind of YouTube channels do you like to watch? Everything. Winston, I am a YouTube watching professional. It's probably the number one channel that we, in my family, we watch. Me and my girlfriend watch all kinds. But my favorite one, don't laugh at me, I love Bailey Sarian. Bailey's Murder Mystery Mondays is awesome. She talks about these, serial killers and stuff, and puts on makeup. She's awesome. She's funny. She makes fun of herself. She's quirky. She's beautiful. I love that channel. We also watch Life Uncontained. I don't know if you ever watched that. That's one where this young couple, they bought a container and built a home out of a container home, and they've had some kids and they've got 2 dogs, and now they've got another container that they're building. They bought some property. I watch the heck out of that. I like to watch old house things, people fixing up old houses. I watch anything that can help me do something. If I have to fix my car, I watch YouTube. There's a couple car fix at YouTubes. We watch, everything. Of course, BookTube. I watch all my friends on BookTube. I don't watch as much BookTube as I used to. Now that I started my channel, I pretty much watch the people that I interact with, my friends on YouTube. I watch their videos, usually early in the morning before I go to work. I watch everything. I watch a lot of guitar videos. I watch a lot of board game videos. I watch everything. Anything that interests me, which is everything in the world. So science, I don't watch politics. I don't watch those. But I don't know. I watch a lot of YouTube, dude. All right, what's next? Number 4. This is 4th question. Thank you, Winston, for sending me 4 questions. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Nice. Of course, I'm not going to give you a straight answer. No, why would I do that? I have to tell you a story. But first off, I'm going to say anything by Ben & Jerry's is awesome. I love Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I can't eat as much ice cream as I used to back in the day because I do have type 2 diabetes. So I have to be careful, but there's nothing wrong with a treat every once in a while. But let me tell you my story. My overall favorite, if I could only have one flavor, it's boring, it's vanilla. I love vanilla ice cream, French vanilla, any type of vanilla ice cream I love. I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Turkey. I lived in downtown Adana, Turkey for a couple years, and they had an ice cream vendor that was basically just on the corner. He had a little cooler and an umbrella, a Turkish gentleman, and he had vanilla and chocolate, but they were handmade, homemade vanilla and chocolate, and his vanilla had little cut up pieces of cherries in it, and mangoes, and little nuts in it, and it was crazy. It was a sloppy mess. Standing out in the corner, all the people that I were friends with, the Americans in Turkey, were like, "What are you doing eating that? There's, dysentery. They're good. Don't eat that stuff." I had to try it, so I said, "Hey, I'd like vanilla." At the time, I was speaking Turkish. I can speak Turkish. I haven't done it in 30 years, so don't ask me to. But I picked up Turkish pretty easily when I was in the Air Force. But anyways, I said vanilla. So how they serve vanilla is he's got this, this cooler. He opens it up. He's got his tub of vanilla in there, and he's got a spatula, like what do they call it? That you put like drywall on your wall, right? And he just starts digging in there, scooping it up, and it's sticky and gooey. And he puts it on a piece. It's a piece of waffle, so it's not a cone. It's like a waffle, like your mom makes waffle. And he slaps it on there, and he gives me the waffle. And it was the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. With that mixture of that waffle, that chewy waffle, and the sugar content and the different flavors from the nuts that were in it and the fruit that was in it. It was crazy good. And of course, so every day walking home, I lived downtown in an apartment. I would take the bus from the air base to Adana and get off at the bus stop and walk to my apartment. I would pass him. So I ate a lot of Turkish vanilla ice cream on a waffle. Anyways, that's my story. Yeah, a long story for vanilla. Sorry. All right, next, Grozz. Grozz from GKBC. Everybody knows Grozz. He was nice enough to send me a couple questions, and they're pretty much, I think, pretty much baseball centric. That's why I have on my Cubs shirt, my Cubs hat. Grozz asked, the first question is, what's your dad's name? And I know why he's asking that, because he's going to probably try to attempt to look up my father, who played for the Chicago Cubs. So here's the thing, Grozz. I've tried to do some research to find his name, and it's very difficult. I haven't tried in years, I'll be honest with you. Maybe with the internet it's easier now, but back in the day there were like 3 books that baseball fans could reference. I think one was called the Baseball Encyclopedia of Baseball or something. And I had a friend that ran a store that had memorabilia, sports memorabilia, and cards and stuff. And he did a research for me, and he said he could only find my father's name mentioned in on a roster in one place that he searched, and it was nowhere else. Unfortunately, my father didn't like to talk about it. I don't know why. If he had harsh feelings, bad feelings, something happened, he didn't really talk about it a lot. He grew up his name was James Price Smith, J.P. Smith. And he grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. He grew up, they had a cow farm, his family. He grew up milking cows in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where he was an all-star sportsman. He did show me some pictures he had of trophies in the Kalamazoo, Michigan high school trophy case with his name all over it. He played basketball, baseball, football, everything. But he loved baseball. He was a pitcher. He graduated high school and immediately went and played for the Chicago Cubs in the Iowa farm system. And I guess during the war, we're talking early 50s, so we're talking like the Korean War, he was called up to the major leagues. From what I understand, what he's told me, he got called up for 2 whole games, and I don't think he pitched. I think he said 1 inning in 1 game. So unfortunately, back during that time period in the early 50s, they didn't keep a lot of good records, and especially during the war, I think that's why he was called up, because actually ball players would go off to war, and they would have to call up the lowly players from the farm system to fill out their rosters sometimes. I think that's how he got to play, but nothing ever after that. So if you can find him, let me know, because I think only one person ever saw his name on a roster once. So I don't know. That's cool. But that's why I'm a Chicago Cubs fan. All right. Another long answer. Sorry, guys. Question number 2. Top 10 favorite all-time Major League Baseball players. I've got tons of them, but I'm not going to explain, give you stories about all of them. I'm just going to list them, and they are not necessarily in any order until the last one. But number 1, Lou Gehrig. Huge fan. I'm not a Yankees fan, but I love Lou Gehrig. Amazing person, ball player. Number 2, Joe Garagiola. Some of you probably have no idea who the hell that is, but if you're my age growing up, you'll know who he is and what he's more famous for than being a catcher in baseball. Number 3, Rusty Staub. Rusty Staub was just cool. Red hair flowing, you know. Rusty Staub was great. Amos Otis. I became an Amos Otis fan. Here I go telling stories because one of my first baseball gloves was a Rawling, and you know how they have like a signature on the gloves, and mine was an Amos Otis model. So I became an Amos Otis fan. Number 5, Cal Ripken. Again, Iron Man, just like Lou Gehrig. And I got to see Cal play many times in Baltimore. Although I've never been able to see a game at Camden Yards, I saw it at the old Memorial Park. Number 6, Kent Tekulve. Dude, that guy, he was like an underhand coming from the side. Love Kent Tekulve. Cool guy. And also on that team, Willie Stargell, number 7. Love Willie Stargell. We are family. Love that team, that Pittsburgh team. Number 8, Ryan Sandberg. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite Chicago Cubs players. Of course, love Ryan Sandberg. Number 9, Jose Garcia-Parra. I used to go to the Boston games in Fenway, and I love Jose. He was a great player. And then number 1, last but absolutely, hands down, the best player in Major League Baseball that I have ever seen in my life. Fight me for it if you want. Argue with me, whatever you want. The number 1 best player of all time, Pete Rose. I never saw anybody, excuse me, I never saw anybody play like Pete Rose. I don't care what you think about him. That dude has to be in the Hall of Fame, or why do we even have baseball? Absolutely greatest player of all time. All right, next, number 3. Grozz gave me a couple questions here. Number 3. What you got against the Tigers of Detroit? That's an awesome question, dude. Actually, nothing. I am a National League fan. So, but I am a fan of baseball. So I said, you know, I got to kind of have an American League team that is my favorite American League team. And I chose Boston Red Sox because they were in the same situation as the Cubs. A storied organization that hadn't won the World Series in 100 years. I love underdogs. And then I lived in Maine, and that was the local team in Maine. But as far as the Tigers go, check this out, Grozz. My dad played his whole professional career in the Chicago Cubs organization, but he's from Kalamazoo, Michigan. His favorite team of all time was the Tigers, and I like the Tigers. I think the Tigers, the style of baseball they play, they belong in the National League. I would love if they were in the National League. And this is cool. So recently, Javier Baez was my favorite Chicago Cubs player. Me and my girlfriend's in love with Javier Baez. Amazing player. Love Javier. He, of course, with the Cubs, guess what? He plays for the Tigers now. You probably know that. And yeah, I just watched him on opening day playing with the Tigers. So I have nothing against the Tigers. I actually love the Tigers. They would just be my second favorite American League team. All right, cool. Next, number 4. Did your dad play with Ken Hubbs? No, my dad did not play with Ken Hubbs. My dad played in the early 50s. Ken Hubbs played in the early 60s. And yeah, won a Golden Glove award. I mean, cool player, but no. I'm curious. Tell me why you know of Ken Hubbs and why you asked that question. But no, he played in the early 60s. And he died when he was 22. So, no, he was probably still only like 15 or so when my dad played. And number 5, favorite baseball book. So, I've already mentioned, I'm not a New York Yankees fan. I was born and raised in New York State. I've lived in New York State for the majority of my life. I am not a New York Yankees fan at all. I hate the Yankees. But my favorite book of all time is The Last Yankee, The Turbulent Life of Billy Martin. What a fun book. It's just, I know there's a ton of baseball books out there, but Billy Martin was a character, dude. Billy Martin was something else. That book is fun. It's crazy. And even though I hated the Yankees, I did love Billy Martin and his antics on the field, and just a crazy dude that, yeah, so that's my favorite baseball book. All right, that's it for Grozz, and now we're on to one last person, the Dot. Yes, the Doctor of Grozz, a member of the GKBC, and she also has her own YouTube channel called Jack is Bored. She was very nice to send me a couple questions as well. All right, Dot, here we go. Who is your favorite Beatle? Well, I mean, I probably would have to say Bailey. Okay, that's a joke. Beetle Bailey. No, I'm going to tell you another story, of course. It's got to be, she knows that the Beatles are my #1 all-time favorite band. I know they're hers as well. And my favorite is Paul. Paul McCartney is an amazing musician, songwriter, singer, musician, entertainer. I love all four of them, the Fab Four. I'm not talking about Starkey or, but yeah, Paul's my favorite. Would he be my best friend? Probably not. I mean, everybody's going to love Ringo. Ringo's fun as hell, right? Ringo is going to be in your group of friends because he's just fun as hell. George, a little airheady. I think he was like a new soul or something. You would love to be friends with him, but sometimes he'd probably say some things and you'd kind of look at him like, what the hell are you talking about? John, I probably would be closest friends with John. We probably would go at it sometimes, arguing over things, but we would have a great volatile friendship, I think. Love John, but overall, my favorite Beatle is Paul McCartney. I was lucky enough, and he's the only one I've ever seen live. I was lucky enough to go to Fenway Park and see Paul McCartney live. Who was it? MGMT. MGMT opened for him that night, and I was lucky enough to bring my son with me. We had great seats. We had special seats with like a table we got to sit at Fenway Park and watch Paul McCartney, and it was a amazing show. My son had no idea who Paul McCartney was, and afterwards he was like, holy crap, that guy plays every instrument, he sang, he moved around the stage, he was older already. This was 10 years ago, and they had fireworks. I mean, he played everything, and it was freaking amazing. I loved that show. Luckily, I got to see Paul McCartney live. Next, #2 from the Dot. Do you like Syd Barrett? Yeah, I love Syd Barrett. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan anyways, but the whole Syd Barrett story, and this dude was so, I've mentioned this before, some of these artistic geniuses just burn out faster than other people, or have some mental health issues, and Syd, of course, was one of them. I had I've listened, well, he's got 2 albums that he put out solo by himself, and Barrett, that was his second album. I had that. I love that album, and someone stole it from me, and it's very hard to come by now. So I need to find it. But yeah, I love Syd Barrett. He of course was the inspiration for, The Wall, that whole Pink story. And yeah, it's just and if you're not familiar with him, a lot of you might not know who Syd Barrett is. Original, started Pink Floyd with Roger Waters, and was their original singer and guitar player. Check him out if you don't know. Look him up. Really tragic, kind of sad story. But yeah, I love Syd Barrett. I'm glad that you like Syd Barrett. If you do, you kind of didn't say. You just said, do you like him? Hope you do. All right, #3. Have you watched Andy Griffith? Do you know who Warren/Jack Burns is? Well, yes, of course. I am an old dude, and Andy Griffith was a very popular TV series when I was younger. I have to admit, it's not one of my favorites. I enjoy it. I like it. It's not edgy enough for me. I don't know what to say. I mean, there's tons of famous people, that came from that TV series. Jim Nabors, I've got a couple of Jim Nabors albums. He was a great singer, actually. Yes, I do know that he did replace Barney Fife on the Andy Griffith Show, and I know that he's, I guess, related to you guys somehow. The original Barney Fife. What's his name? It's escaping my mind right now. But anyways, yeah. The cool thing, though, that I didn't know him that much. I did watch a show. He was on there. I kind of didn't like him as a replacement for Don Knotts. Jeez, just remembered his name. Wow. But I didn't watch it enough to form that much of an opinion of him, specifically on that show. So I researched him, and I found out that he started out as a comedic duo with George Carlin. And I love George Carlin. I never knew that. That was really interesting to me. And in my research, I found out that he was a writer on The Muppet Show. So, comedic genius, I guess. I mean, I just don't know that much about him. So, that's my answer to that question. And number 4, she asked one more question. Have you watched Newhart? If so, what are your feelings on Michael Harris and or Peter Scolari? Yes, I have watched Newhart. Again, not one of my favorite shows. The Dot loves these old musicians. She's an old soul. I love Dot. Check out her channel. Yeah, so Peter Scolari, yeah, I like him as an actor. I've watched him in other things. He was on Bosom Buddies. Yeah, with Tom Hanks. Yeah, I love Bosom Buddies. And he played the character Tad Horvath on Girls, which was an HBO series. I don't know, for me, kind of like Sex and the City. But anyways, he played Tad Horvath, of course, after my name. They actually used my name as that character, if you didn't know that. But yeah, I like Peter Scolari as an actor for sure. I did not watch Newhart as frequently as maybe other shows of the time. But I did watch it enough to, yeah, I know who he is. And I don't know if he was great as Michael Harris in that show because I really didn't watch it enough. But that's it. I'm all done. Those are all the questions that I received. And now you've sat through hours of me telling you weird stories that pertain to those questions. I hope you learned a little bit more about me. Maybe I'll do this again someday. Who knows, when I have 1 million subscribers and tons of people want to know more about Tad. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave me some comments, and until next time, peace out.